Hey everyone, welcome back to the ProofDeep YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing a quick breakdown of the DJI Osmo Action 6 just to help you better understand some of the settings that you're changing on this. And we're going to be giving you 2 settings that'll help you get started, giving you the best quality, and also helping you get out there and start recording right away. Without further ado guys, let's get into it. Okay, so now what we're going to be looking at is resolution. And with resolution, you could just click here and you'll see that we have 1080p, 2.7, and we have 4K. For the settings, to better understand it, what that does is it gives you the quality of video. Back in the day, I'm dating myself here, but around the early 2000s, 1080p was just like the hottest thing to have. 1080p was really good quality. It was considered HD, so higher definition, but now we have 4K. So 4K is actually really a great standard if you're gonna start somewhere. So if you wanna get good quality videos, now we have the cards and the space to be able to accommodate some of that. And if you do want to film in 1080p because you're having issues with storage, you can do that as well. Just better understanding resolution, that's just going to be the quality of video. We're going to be looking at frames per second, FPS. So if you see FPS, that's just frames per second. Right under that option that we were at, you'll see frames per second. So to better understand this, we're not going to get too into the weeds with anything. I just want to give you guys a nice basic understanding of what everything is and how it operates on here. So with frames per second, 24 to 30, we'll look at both of those. That's basically going to give you a cinematic look. It's going to do the work that your eye does. So when you see a lot of things out of focus when it's moving, it kind of does that. So it slows things down. It doesn't have your eye working so much. So that's kind of more of a cinematic look like you would see in a movie. But what we're going to be looking at now is 60 frames per second. So 60 frames per second, that's actually going to be giving you guys more of that real life look. So everything's in motion, it's moving a lot quicker, and it's a lot smoother. So it's really just a realistic view of everything. And luckily, these new cameras and this technology we have, it can handle that. So that's really exciting. The quicker the frame rate, the more detail you have to be able to slow it down. So usually 120 frames somebody would use for slow motion and bringing that back down. Okay, so next thing we're going to be talking about is the aperture. And the aperture is controlled here, so I'm always going to go back to the main screen so that way you guys can see. The aperture, you're just going to click on these controls here, and here it'll allow you to select. So with the new Osmo Action 6, it can go between 2.0 to 4.0. So just to get a basic understanding, the lower, the more light you're going to let in, and that more blurred vision you're going to get up close. And the higher up, it's going to be less blurred, so it's going to take in more inside that frame, but it's going to be a lot less lighting. So make sure you have that lighting to support that if you are going to go up higher. Okay, so next thing we're going to be talking about is going to be field of view. And this is really cool with these cameras. So with the action cameras, starting in the beginning, you're going to just go ahead and pull up here, and then right here you'll see wide. It might be set to standard. That's basically going to have you up in closer but give you better quality of video. And then if you want to get more within the shot, you're going to go ahead and hit something that they have here as natural wide. So that's going to be a wider shot. So it's going to help you bring more in. If you are filming action, you want to get more inside the shot. Really like a cool look. Standard would be a little more cinematic and close up, like maybe an interview or you're focusing in on the target. And wide is going to take in more. So you really want to capture everything, buildings, cars. They have ultra wide and wide. So they give you a lot of options here. This is kind of one of their main things is taking in a lot. So if you are going down a mountain, you can see everything around you. So you have a selection there. And standard is going to give you the best quality if you are focusing in on something. And while these cameras today are very advanced, that is a pro with some of these, is that filming in 4K, 60 frames per second, you can get a lot with wide. So you aren't sacrificing so much on the image and you're able to get better quality while you're keeping things open and wide while you're filming. Okay, next thing we're going to be talking about is stabilization. And I'm sure you guys have heard this before with stabilization in cameras. A lot of Sony cameras actually use it. These cameras actually do a really good job with it. It's actually on this, you'll hear with many cameras, it'll be called an image stabilization, but for DJI, what they actually call it is rock steady. So I'll show you guys how to get there. So you just pull up on the screen, you go ahead and go back to where we found standard, and it'll be on the left side here. So you'll see you can turn it off completely if you are going to have the stationary, and you can turn it on and you can put rock steady plus or horizontal balance, which is kind of like standard, so it helps you hold it with a little bit of assistance. Rock steady. This is really the highlight of these cameras. So within image stabilization or rock steady mode, now you can go out and do action and it'll hold things as steady as possible. So that really is a huge pro with these cameras, and that's why most people purchase these. So in image stabilization can help keep things in frame and looking nice and clean, and kind of gives it like a float. So it'll help you capture a lot. It basically does the job of what a gimbal would do. Okay, so next thing we're going to look at is shutter speed. And shutter speed can be tricky because sometimes you can mix it up with frames per second and then your video will look all choppy. So basically what the shutter speed does is it helps slow things down and help you with the focus and the lighting. So you don't want to go too high up and you don't want to go too low. Usually between around 40 to 60 is the right place. So it is a little bit tricky to get to it here. So I'll show you guys in a sec. Instead of going up on here and thinking that your frames per second is your shutter speed, which you do not want to do, even though they're relatively the same or close, they're two totally different things. So you're going to go ahead here, you're going to hit exposure. And if you look here, it is actually going to make you click up there at the top, and then that will let you select where you need to be. So it looks like it has us here at 60, depending on where we have the focal point. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at 160. And since we are here on this menu, we'll go over ISO. So with ISO, I'm sure you guys have heard this many times, ISO, if you are out and being active, you can keep it on auto, and that's going to help you a lot. If you know you're going to be in an area where the light is kind of controlled and you have some time within that hour, and there's not going to be any drastic changes, then you can go ahead and set your ISO. And usually with ISO, you want to pull it down as much as you can. The lower you have that ISO and the more light support you have, the better the video is going to be within the image. We will go back, pull this down to the beginning. So like I mentioned, we are there. What we're going to do is hit this here, and we're going to be in pro mode. Look at that. We're going to be pro mode. So you'll go over to exposure, and exposure will help you with that. So here you can see you can control the ISO on the right, and what it will do is help you get better image quality, but also control that lighting. So if it's too dark when you're filming, you want to control that ISO. Typically I try to keep it around 400 to 500, but if you're outside, you want to put that ND lens on to help support and take some stress off that. All right, another screen that we are on at the same time, I don't know if you noticed that on the last part, but before I went into the shutter speed, there was something called EV on the left side, which we will go into right now. So basically what EV does is it helps control that light. When you are filming, you get the best quality possible. You have something like oncoming headlights. It's a lot of that blur and that kind of cloud casting or smoke look inside the frame that's affecting it. And this is usually a standard of where you want to leave it. So next thing we're going to talk about, which is also super important, is going to be white balance. You'll see it labeled as AWB on the camera, and we'll go into that now. So what you're going to do to control that white balance, so we're going to go over to the selector on the side, and you'll see AWB. So auto white balance, basically what that does is it's going to help control the color in your image. So if you see something very cold and blue or very warm, what the white balance will do, auto white balance will help control that. So when you are on the go, it's going to help go between. So if you jump into shadow, the auto white balance is going to change, but then you jump back into that lighting, you're going to see the change, and it's going to change, and you're not going to have so much control over it. But if you are on the go and you have action going on, it's going to be perfect for what you need. So usually auto white balance is the way to go when you are using something like an action camera. Let's say you want to go into manual mode, you want the best quality possible because you have the shot controlled, so you know what the lighting is, you know where you're filming, and either there's something moving there and there is action within the shot, or you are filming something. When you are controlling it manually and you do set a specific auto white balance, it'll be more consistent and it'll actually be more professional for you while you are filming. So if you get used to controlling your auto white balance, that'll help you a lot. So next thing we're going to talk about is color profile. So luckily with the DJI Osmo Action 6, you actually get two color profiles. The first one will be normal. So normal is going to be when you're filming, like I mentioned earlier, you're on the go, you want it to do its adjustments for you. With this, I know there is also settings where you can actually control the color. So if we click here, it'll give you normal. So that'll be 10-bit color. So the camera, the quality that actually comes out of the Osmo Action 6 is really good. So if you don't want to deal with the post editing and you don't want to do color grading and everything like that, the images that come out of here are actually really good. So you'll just need to do a couple minor tweaks, the contrast, maybe adjust some of the sharpness, maybe add some saturation to it. That'll help you guys a lot. But if you have full control and you're an expert and you have LUTs and all these things set up and you like color grading yourself, well, DJI Osmo Action 6 actually gives you that. So you can go to D-Log 10-bit, and what that looks like for some of you who aren't familiar with it is that it gives kind of like a cloudy look. So it looks like one solid smoke screen is between it and has everything neutral. So the reason for that is in D-Log, what you want to do is you want to film in D-Log, and then post, you want to be doing all the color grading. So you get to put how much highlights, how much green you want in an image, how much blue. So it's really neat that you get to do that. So you get some really cool shots and everything looks really nice. But if you want to just get out there, film, normal 10-bit is the way to go. That's going to give you the most. Luckily this camera has really good quality, so that'll help you a lot. All right, we're almost through this, you guys. Thank you so much if you've stuck around. I hope this is helping you. Next thing we're going to talk about is sharpness. With sharpness, you don't want to go too low and you don't want to go go too high. With sharpness, if you go too high, it's going to look chalky and weird and super sharp, and the edges are not going to look refined. But if you go too low, it's going to start to look kind of soft and cloudy and like a daydream. So you want to be right in the middle. All right, so we'll go over to image adjustment. So you go to image adjustment, and here texture is considered the sharpness. So the sharpness, like I mentioned, you don't want to go too high and you don't want to go too low. So we usually keep it here at 0. And over to noise reduction. With noise reduction is you want to keep it low for cleaner detail. Too much is going to make the image way too soft, and you're not going to want that in your image. So typically, rule of thumb is I keep these neutral, and they already come like that in the settings. So you can leave it there like that. Okay, you guys, so that is a quick little breakdown of all the settings in. Sometimes you hop on a video and they give you recommendations on exactly what setting to set. You go ahead and you're following the video because their stuff is filmed on D-Log, color graded, and looks amazing. You're like, hey, if this person's giving me these settings, then it's going to look like that. That's not always the case. But if you guys do want it to look like that, then now you know what to do and you know exactly how everything works within the camera. So you can go ahead and customize your own adjustments as you saw on there. It's not me saying it, it's DJI saying it. You can be a pro. There you guys go. And now we'll get into the best part. We're going to look at 2 settings that will help you get out there and film and get the best quality possible. A third setting is you can do whatever you want because now you know how to customize it. So let's look at that. All right, everyone. So this one is going to be for that person who is on the go in action. So you're going to want to just swipe up, make sure we're in 4K, and for FPS, we're going to want to make sure we're in 60 so we get that real life motion. And go ahead, and for the width, we're going to keep it wide so that way we get more in the shot. And rock steady, we want to make sure we get rock steady. Let's actually move it up to rock steady plus so we get the best stabilization possible. Over in pro mode, make sure that ISO is set to auto so it can adjust when you go in dark, light, and the frame rate. Make sure auto white balance is on also, since we're going to be jumping between different shots. And if it is fixed in your aperture, make sure it's set to auto, and it'll range between f2 and f4. Alright. And for noise and sharpness or texture, make sure it's at 0 just in case you bumped it on accident. Looking over everything, all looks well. And there you go. Now this one's going to be for those still shots, so you have it set up on a tripod and you're going to be filming the action. So go ahead and swipe up, make sure we're still in 4K, and we're going to go with 30 frames per second. And for the image, we want to make sure it's at standard so we get the best quality, and rock steady off because it will be on a tripod. So in the pro settings, we will be changing the exposure rate. So now that we could set it, we'll want to do manual mode for the ISO to be set so we get the best possible quality since we are controlling that lighting. For auto white balance, we're also going to set that. I usually do 4400 and 45. That's usually a good place to start. Alright, and for the aperture, you want to make sure you set that. I usually do 2.8. 2.8 is just that happy medium for me. You can adjust it within there. For texture, any noise, you want to make sure you're set. And there you go. You guys are all ready. I got an awesome one. Actually, the truth is I really forgot to add this in the video and I'm coming back in and adding this in. So I want to get you guys the best possible quality. So you're going to want to do is swipe down on the top right, move down on the list, and you're going to want to look for bitrate. So with that bitrate, it's going to help give you the best possible quality. So go ahead and set that to high, and you guys will now get the best quality image. And you can use this setting on anything you're using. So just make sure that's turned on so you get the best possible quality. All right, everyone. So that's a quick breakdown of the DJI Osmo Action 6. And it helps you guys understand some of the settings. So now you can either customize it or you can go with those 2 options I set up for you if you guys want to get out there and get the best quality possible and start recording right away. So you guys, thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot. Again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I love hearing from you guys, and we'll grow this channel together. And looking forward to the next video.